it is that time of year again. We are just over 3 weeks away from Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend 2026, and it's event guide time. The event guide's been out for probably almost 2 weeks now. Um, maybe no, maybe a little less than that. I don't know. Anyways, time to dive in, find the ins and outs, those, give you my tips and tricks, as this will be my 12th marathon weekend consecutively, and my ninth Dopey, right? I think. Yes, nine Dopies, I know. Um, Trying to think if either 11 or 12, I don't know. Lost count of how many marathon weekends. But anyways, quite a few. And on the road to my 100th Run Disney race later this season, completing that at Springtime Surprise. But anyways, let's dive in and see how you can make the most of your Walt Disney World Marathon weekend.
Well, hello, and let's dive right into this event guide. As you can see here, we have our welcome page, pretty standard for all Run Disney weekends. You have obviously your event logo, presented by State Farm. The whole theme of this weekend is "What's Your Story?" We have Adam Ball, Vice President of Run Disney, ESPN, Wild World Sports, and Disney Water Parks, welcoming us. And our celebrated charity is Blood Cancer United, which is actually the same as Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, but they changed names. So that's still the same charity, just a change in names for them. Then we takes us into our weekend events, the next tab here. And this is where all your main information is going to be. Starting with the important information tab. Here you just get a rundown of event safety, costume guidelines, and then you'll have a bunch of tabs here regarding like weather information. Pretty much every race has this, and this is kind of going to give you an idea of what to expect. Obviously, a green flag is great conditions. Yellow flag would be less than ideal, whether it be some light rain, some higher winds, warmer temperatures, cooler temperatures, stuff like that. Red flag is going to be on alert for potential weather, whether it be some significant rainfall, some higher temperatures, nearing that threshold point, some pretty low temperatures, like pretty cold, below freezing kind of stuff. An extreme black flag that's usually only used if they're going to make some significant changes to the course or cancel it altogether. Black flag is when we see like 2017 when the half marathon was canceled, or in what was it, 2024? Yes, when the half marathon was shortened due to weather. So just stuff like that. And this stuff will all be posted ahead of time at the morning of the race to kind of give you an idea. More often than not, it's that green to yellow, and you don't have to really worry about it. Projected or start timelines. Here, this is for each individual race. As we go into each individual race, we'll kind of go into this some more, but they have a full for each race in this tab here. Race day transportation, again, we'll go into this more in depth in each individual race, but this is a full rundown of all the races. Event waivers. If you have not done so already, please sign your event waivers ahead of time. If not, or if you are unable to, they will have waivers on hand as you go to pick up your bib to sign. You can't pick up your bib without a signed waiver. And then with that, your check-in pass, which will note if you have signed your waiver or not, will be in your race account, your Run Disney account, on January 5th. Again, costume guidelines. This kind of goes more in depth. The video above gives an overview of what to expect. This is just the written guidelines on, like no inflatable costumes, no costumes that are connected to each other, kind of like a slinky dog. Some people have done that in the past, and that's a no-no. stuff like that. There's just certain guidelines that you have to follow for your own safety and safety of others on course. Event reminders, kind of basic stuff. Make sure you're in good health. Run Disney safety policies. All participants must attend the expo to pick up their bibs. Just kind of general information, nothing too crazy in here. If this is your first Run Disney weekend, might be good to read through this. But if you're, a Run Disney veteran, not really necessary. Okay. As we move in from event reminders to flag guidelines, this is kind of for those that carry a flag with them. A lot of times you'll see participants carry the American flag or other countries. This is just a kind of a guideline for those flags have to be within a certain size, and poles that you carry them with have to be within a certain size, stuff like that. So if you're going to carry a flag, be sure to make note of this. Race day information, kind of general stuff again. Gear check will be available at all the races in the reunion area. You will get a clear plastic Run Disney bag that you'll put your bib number on, and that will be your gear check bag. When you go to gear check if you don't have a bag, they'll have extra bags there. But more often than not, you will already have your bag full of stuff ready to go. There'll be tables with Sharpies, and you'll write your bib. There'll be a white box on the bag. You'll write your bib number on there. Then, usually on 5K morning, only a few of the trucks are open. Same with the 10K. And then for the half and the full, because they're larger races, all the trucks will be open. But you'll take your bag to one of the trucks, whichever truck you choose or they direct you to, and they'll give you a sticker. And on that sticker, it will say the truck number. So let's say it says truck 2, and then it will have another number on it, say like 756. And that you'll take that sticker and put it on the back of your bib. And then when you come back after the race, you'll look at that sticker on the back of your bib. Say I'm at truck number 2, and the bag number is 756, and you'll go there, and it's kind of the bib number on the bag and the bag number are kind of like a double checking to make sure that everybody gets their correct bag back. I bag check every race, and I've never had an issue with getting the wrong stuff. They're pretty good about that stuff. So just kind of some pointers there with gear check. Food and beverage on race day. There will be a food and beverage tent. It will be to the left of the stage. We'll kind of go over that some more of where that's located. But they'll have drinks and some light snacks, stuff like that. There will also be food trucks kind of throughout the area. They'll have some more. Some will have coffee. Some will have other things, breakfast sandwiches, stuff like that. And those will be kind of throughout the reunion and spectator areas. There will be a lost and found, and that will be utilized the same kind of Disney lost and found-ish. You can fill out in the online form if you lose something, that kind of thing. And that takes us into race etiquette. This is kind of the basic stuff you get with every race. Obviously, wear your bib on the front of yourself. This also helps for photo pass. If you put your bib on the back, they can't see your bib number and you will not get your photos. Obviously, pay attention to instructions both pre-race, during the race, and after the race. Especially if there's some sort of emergency or something going on that you need to pay attention to. Be sure to enter the correct start corral. You will not be allowed in the wrong one. Be attentive to which one you're going into. Run no more than 2 people apart. Don't want big groups clogging up an entire pathway, because some points in the courses do get narrow. So it is important that you obviously be mindful of other runners around you. Be mindful of water stations, stuff like that. Be courteous, say excuse me, stuff like that. Yeah, just kind of general, common courtesy, common sense type kind of stuff that not everybody seems to follow anyways. But it is there. Be sure to read through that if you are a new runner, that kind of stuff. Snack box information. Now, at this time of recording, the full snack box list is not out, but typically what you'll find in that is the plastic cheese, which everybody knows and loves. Some sort of, whether it be it was Fritos for Wine and Dine. It's either going to be Tostitos, Fritos. It's been pretzels, some sort of chip or something like that to go with the cheese. Usually there's some sort of, whether it be a fruit snack or kind of something like that as well. Usually a honey stinger waffle is in there, and then a Baduka bread thing because they're a sponsor. I'm not a fan of them, but those are typically in there as well. And then also post-race you'll have water, Powerade, and a banana that you can grab. On course, there'll be nutrition information. We'll go through that when we get to the individual courses. Post-race information. This is just kind of race results. They'll be on Track Shack and through the runDisney website. You can access that. Yeah, we'll go in a little bit more into that as well later on. Photo Pass. This is how you will link your race photos. Now, in years past, it was based on your bib number. Now it is not. You will need to, and in your check-in pass and in your runDisney account, when you log into that, you will see a code, and in that code, you enter that into the My Disney Experience app under the link photos part. And that code is, if you're doing a challenge, so say you're doing Dopey, you'll get one code for all 4 races. If you are doing, say, the 5K and the 10K, you'll get one code for each individual race there because it's not a challenge. They're 2 separate races. Same thing if you're running Goofy, you get one code for the entire challenge. If you're doing, for some reason, you didn't sign up for Dopey, but you were running all 4 races individually, not part of the challenge, then you would get 4 different codes. Just kind of, how that works out. Minivan ad. This is just kind of information about minivans. They always put that in there for some reason. Coast to coast information now, because this is the final, or I shouldn't say final, but after this year there will be a pause on coast to coast races. This is the first race in the 2026 calendar year that will be put towards coast to coast. However, you cannot actually earn the 2026 Coast to Coast medal at this race weekend, but your races here can be used towards that. So just keep that in mind. If you are running the 10 or the half marathon or the full marathon or Goofy or Dopey, you can get that will count towards your Coast to Coast, which then you can earn when you run Disneyland at the end of January. Or if you run Disneyland at the end of January and you're not running Marathon Weekend, and then you run Princess, or you run Springtime, or you run Wine and Dine, then you'll get the medal after those races. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're doing Coast to Coast, read through this, kind of, gives you a rundown of what that's all about. And then Advent Health is the medical provider for the race weekend. Just kind of, that's who, if you need medical attention, that's who will be helping you out. That takes us back into weekend events here and the Health and Fitness Expo, the first big thing of the weekend. Health and Fitness Expo. This is the kind of the kickoff to the weekend, the first big thing that everybody attends. Day 1, obviously if you're running the 5K or Dopey, you'll need to attend for day 1 of the Expo, Wednesday, January 7th. We'll run from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now, if you are a Club runDisney member, there will have early access if you are a Gold or Platinum member, and you will need to provide your own transportation in order to get there for that time period. And the Platinum will obviously have their own separate bed pickup and early merchandise as well, and then Gold will just have the early merchandise. And we'll go through each spot here at the Expo that you'll need to kind of look around at, or if you are so interested. 2 spots for sure if you are running a race. Third spot only if you really need merch or if you want merchandise. But we'll start with that. And the merchandise, if you are not a Club Run Disney member, you obviously need the virtual queue on day one. This has been in place for at least 2-3 years now, for merchandise. And if you are planning on buying merchandise, you will need to join the virtual queue starting at 8:30 in the morning on day one. Now, this virtual queue is only in place if you are going to the expo on day one. The virtual queue isn't used on day 2, 3, or 4. And then if you don't get in at the 8:30 time slot, there will be another time slot at 1 o'clock for people to join. You'll see when you go into the app, there'll be a section that's labeled ESPN Wild World Sports Complex. You select the Run Disney Merchandise tab and join virtual queue there. You can go in ahead of time and kind of make sure your party that you're going with is selected. You can, I believe, select up to it's 6 people total, yep, to join you. And all members of your party must be it must be linked to your My Disney experience when you do that. And then it will give you an estimated, or it will give you a time and or a number slot, and then you'll get a estimated wait time when they start calling groups. As we go into, again, event waivers, that's just the same thing as before. Race bib insure pickup. This is just kind of making sure people understand if you are doing the 5K or Dopey, you need to be there to pick up your stuff on Wednesday. If you're doing the 10K, you can come Wednesday or Thursday. If you're doing the half or Goofy, you can come Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. And then the marathon, you can come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Now, a lot of times, Wednesday will obviously be the busiest Expo day because 5K and Dopey have to come, but then also the rest of the people come to make sure they can get the merchandise that they want, because there's no guarantees that they're going to have everything after that first day. And there's stuff that sells out in the first hour or two of the expo, so you never really know what's going to be there and what's not. Expo transportation, kind of touched on that. If you're a club member, you cannot utilize this given the times. But Run Disney does provide transportation from all Walt Disney World resorts, Shades of Green and Swan and Dolphin, to the Expo. This will begin 30 minutes before Expo opening and run 30 minutes after Expo opening. There are no buses from the parks or Disney Springs to the Expo. Keep that in mind. So if you're going to the parks, don't plan to take a bus directly from the parks or from Disney Springs in order to get to the Expo, or then leave the Expo and go to one of those. So you need to take a bus from a resort in order to get there, or drive yourself. Again, a minivan is available. Here is a map of the complex. Building A is where your merchandise is going to be. D is just kind of the entrance area. I don't know why that's kind of noted on here, but that's okay. I don't remember them having that on there before. Anyways, B is the athletic center. This is going to be your kind of vendor area. However, before you go to B, you're going to need to go to C, because that's where your bib pickup is. And in order to go to B to get your shirts, you need to go to C first. So you'll go to C first to get your bibs. And then on your bibs, there'll be a tab that you rip off in order to collect your shirts. So that's when you go to B, which is also where all the vendors are, whether it be the running stores, Jeff Galloway. Run Disney will have a booth. They're showcasing the medals for this race and other races, stuff like that. Here is a layout of the merchandise floor. So in the center will be all your official Run Disney merchandise. Up on the second level is the Platinum Member Lounge. This is where they go to pick up their bibs and stuff like that. There will be a section for pre-purchase merchandise. And then at the back will be the Brooks. This is now We had springtime, Halloween, wine and dine, and now this will be the fourth weekend with Brooks. And so they'll be at the back. We're expecting some new shoes because they retired some styles, and some new ones will be coming for this race weekend. So I expect the Brooks section to be busy. But then when you go to checkout, they'll have a mobile checkout area and a regular checkout. Brooks is all done individually. Or kind of separate, so it'll be its own kind of section. So if you're going to buy Brooks shoes, you purchase those in there. They'll have a fitting section kind of in the back here before you enter, and that'll all take place there. So this is only if you only go in here if you want merchandise, and on day one you needed that virtual queue in order to get in here. If you don't want merchandise, you can bypass this building altogether. Bib pickup here will be all on the lower level of the State Farm Fieldhouse. Dopey will have a large section, the 5K half, marathon, goofy, 10K. Then there will have photo ops and character meet and greets on this side over here. Runner relations, if you have a bib question or issue there, will be there as well. Athletes with disabilities has a booth, and then runDisney account services if you have any account issues. A section there, and then any photo pass questions, they have a photo pass booth as well. Then that takes us to the athletic center, and here is, like I said, we'll have the entire vendor set up here. At the back is where you'll pick up your shirts, marathon, goofy, dopey on one side, 5K, 10K half on the other, and then make sure to check your shirts. So at Wine and Dine, I ended up getting women's shirts, and I didn't realize this until after the fact, which is a problem because after the fact, I'm kind of out of luck. However, I did email runDisney, and they were able to help me out. But make sure to check your shirts, and if you get the wrong ones, there's a shirt exchange, so then you can change those out for the correct ones. At the front is the runDisney Showcase. That is where, like I mentioned, they'll have the medals out. They usually give away stickers, kind of preview some different stuff over there. And then all throughout the center is different vendors, whether it be Belega, Brooks, Disney Vacation Club, Flip Belt, Garmin, Honey Stinger, Jeff Galloway, like I said, all sorts of different stuff in here to check out. And that is the Expo. So that is going to take us right into the 5K. 5K, the event opens at 3 a.m. That's when security will open. 5 a.m. race start. Estimated final finisher at 7:45 and event close at 8:30. Now, to note, if you are a runDisney vet about the event close section, something that they have changed with Wine and Dine is because of the setup and how Epcot is now doing things, they're doing hard closes for the event, for the event area. So once that 8:30 hits, they want everybody out because they have to tear down things so that area can be used for parking again, and then they will reopen in the morning and set things back up. So it's kind of an added thing where they have to shut things down each day where they didn't previously have to do that. Anyways, start groups. As you can see here, we'll have groups A through G, and all of them will open up at 3:45. You obviously, if you're there before that, you can go into the reunion area, hang out until those open. And then each individual start group will close at a certain time. As you can see here, at Group A, 4:45, 4:50, 5 o'clock, 5:05, 5:15, and 5:25. They do that so at some point, the corrals have to keep moving, so you can't keep them open as long as the race is kind of going on. And then they give you a projected start time because there's waves within each group. So wave 1 of A will start at 5 o'clock, but then say wave 2 won't necessarily start at 5 o'clock. They may start at 5:05, stuff like that. And then these bigger, later corrals will have more waves that they'll send off every 2 minutes or so, whatever they determine that time in between that they need is. Spectator viewing. Now for the 5K, there is only the start and finish because it's all in Epcot and all before park hours. So You can only view if you are a spectator at the start line and then at the finish line, and they have areas set up for spectators there. Transportation, as we go back into here, as you can see for the 5K, to the start line, buses will start running at 3 a.m. and run until 5 a.m. At the finish, they'll run from 6:30 to 8:30. Obviously, some people will be done before 6:30. However, given the course, we run by where the buses have to go to take runners after the finish. So the buses cannot start running earlier than that 6:30. There will be no monorail to the 5K start. Race etiquette, event reminder, snack box, all the same as before. Parking, if you are driving, this is kind of the parking. They'll use all the lots for parking. Just follow directions. They'll have people out there. If you're taking the bus, you'll be dropped off in this area over here, and you'll have to walk through. Everybody, I should say, has to walk through to the main Epcot entrance, go through the security, and then make the walk around along this path and into the reunion area. Like I said, this is where the post-race transportation is, and as you'll see, the 5K course comes along this way, so they cannot utilize that post-race bus transportation until that course portion is clear. Start groups will be in here, and like I said, we'll open up at 3:45. This is where spectator viewing for the start is going to be, and this is where spectator viewing for the finish will be. A little closer up look at that reunion lot. You'll have a stage here in the front with a DJ pre-race, as well as they'll have characters on both sides of that stage. And then the food and beverage tent will be to the left of all of that, and that's where post-race, if you would like to indulge in a post-race beverage like I do, this is where you would get that. But there will also be an information tent, baby care spot, Advent Health will have a spot, gear bag check will be over there, and then an AWD area as well. And then, of course, the course. The 5K, as always, will start in that Epcot parking lot. You'll go around the parking lot, following through around backstage into Epcot. Mile 1 will be just before you enter Epcot, behind Test Track here. This is Test Track, and you go between Test Track and Mission Space. Here is where you'll enter, and you'll have your first, I know, big thing I'm going to go over here is real bathrooms on course. Obviously, pre and post race, there'll be plenty of porta potties on course, but in park for real bathrooms, and then even for the other races, when you're not in park, they'll have porta potties set up in various spots. But here is your first real bathroom to the left as you're coming in between Connections and Creations here. This building right here will be a real bathroom. Then you're going to come into World Celebration, go through the spine, and into World Showcase. You will have a real bathroom here by the Odyssey. Then you go past Mexico and into Norway. You'll have real bathrooms in Norway, past China and the African outpost, and into Germany. Germany will have real bathrooms as well over here. And you'll go past Italy. America will hold the one water stop for the 5K. And there will also be real bathrooms back here as well. Japan will have mile 2. Then you'll go into Morocco. Morocco will have real bathrooms just on the other side of the main pavilion. Go past France, over the bridge, through the United Kingdom. United Kingdom will have real bathrooms over here as well, as you just past the majority of the pavilion. Go past Canada and then back into World Discovery, I believe this is called now. Or World, I don't know. World, this is Celebration. It all confuses me at this point. Well, World Nature is over here, I know that. Anyways, real bathroom on the left as you're going down this path into past the Imagination Pavilion. Um, and so yeah, and you'll go past the Imagination Pavilion, past the land. The land will be over here, but you'll go take a right turn as you go back into World Celebration, and you'll go up and around Spaceship Earth. On the left of Spaceship Earth, there'll be real bathrooms over here, and then around the front of the fountain in front of Spaceship Earth, you'll come back around the other side. There'll be real bathrooms on the other side as well, and then you make a turn out backstage. That will be your last real bathroom as you're on stage. As you go backstage, you'll pass the choir and out to the finish, and that is your 5K. Pretty standard. This race course has not changed much at all in the entirety that I've run Marathon Weekend. And that is it, y'all. Again, photo pass information, minivans, nothing else really for the 5K. So that will take us into the 10K. Again, event open at 3 a.m., start at 5. Estimated final finisher for this one at 8 o'clock. Event close at 9. Start groups all again will open up at 3:45. Start group close times and projected starts. So everybody will be starting by 6:06 a.m. Spectating, again, they note start and finish. However, I'm going to give some tips for possible other spots on this course that you can spectate, because there is a little bit more leniency, you could say, with the 10K. Transportation-wise, as I move my head, is 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock for the start line, 6:30 to 9 for the finish. No monorail or Skyliner for the other resorts, or for the races at all, for the 10K, that is. And race etiquette of Miranda's race. The 5K is untimed, but the 10K half and full are all timed races, and you can find those race results here. Obviously, since the races haven't happened yet, there's no results listed, but be sure to check back here for that information after the race. Snack box information again. Start and staging is all the same. There is a road closure map because we do run on the roads for this race. So you do need to be mindful if you are driving that certain roads will be closed at certain points to accommodate the race. So like, for example, Epcot Center Drive West to the Epcot Auto Plaza for parking is going to be closed from 4:15 a.m. to 7 a.m. So obviously if you are running and say you finish before at 7 a.m., you may have to take an alternate route to get out and go back to your resort or wherever you are. 10K course. Now again, pretty standard. Not much has changed for the 10K compared to previous years, and especially if you ran Wanadine, very standard to that as well. You'll start in that Epcot parking lot once again, kind of come out to the left, but then doing a roundabout turn back around, taking that same kind of way. Instead of going via the parking lot, though, you're going to be on that roadway coming kind of in backstage, and then through same way. There is a water stop just after mile 1 out here, but you'll be coming in that same way that you did for the 5K into Epcot between Test Track and Mission Space. You're going to do, instead of going straight in, you're going to kind of do a little out and back by Guardians of the Galaxy, and then kind of another little out and back. This is a little different than some past years, but you kind of got a little kind of hairpin turn between connections and creations again as well. And then you're going to run right by that real bathroom, and then in back around behind creations and into World Showcase. But you're going to go around these two shops, and this pathway, I'll warn you here, this pathway does get narrow, so if you were kind of near the back of the pack where it kind of gets more crowded on course, This could be problematic. I have seen that at points where this gets kind of tight in here, so keep that in mind. Again, real bathrooms near the Odyssey. Around World Showcase, bathrooms in Norway, bathrooms in Germany, bathrooms in America. Again, a water stop in America as well. Bathrooms in Morocco. You're going to do instead of continuing around, you're going to take a left going outside through International Gateway, up and around the boardwalk. There are going to be real bathrooms over here just outside the gates for International Gateway, so that is an option as well. But you're going to go around the boardwalk. Now, this is a spectating spot. If you are staying at an Epcot resort, or if you can get there, it's very difficult to get there on race morning, but some people do. This is a spectating spot. However, it's going to be a quiet zone because this is a resort and it is 5 in the morning. So they do ask you to be quiet, but there's plenty of people that are out and about on the boardwalk spectating the race for the 10K. Same thing kind of with the Swan and Dolphin area. People will come out and be around kind of on this bridge area here as you go back and around. And then Yacht and Beach Club, if you are staying in those resorts, plenty of spots to spectate over there as well. Again, they want you to be quiet though at those points. And then you go back into Epcot around World Showplace here between the United Kingdom and Canada. There'll be a water stop backstage before you enter. As you enter, there'll be real bathrooms on your right-hand side in the United Kingdom. And you go past Canada, there'll be real bathrooms again over here as you come in back into the front of Epcot portion. You're going to go in and then past Figment. As you're going past Figment, you're going to have real bathrooms. As you go backstage, you're going to come around behind the Land Pavilion, go all the way around backstage, behind the Seas, and come back on stage, go in front of those two attractions or pavilions, and then back around into World Celebration. There will be real bathrooms over here. Go kind of do a circle around World Celebration, go past at Spaceship Earth, real bathrooms again on both sides as you do a loop around the front of Epcot and then back out to the finish. So they kind of doing a lot of weaving in the front of Epcot to make up some mileage, but overall pretty standard for the Walt Disney World 10K. You really just kind of go out to the resorts and back in, utilizing that Epcot space. They had to make up a little bit of time because prior to this we would use a little bit more road portion. We'd go out further on this road here and then make a turn and come back around. This way, this year it's kind of shorter out and back over there. But overall, pretty standard, pretty similar stuff to what we have experienced in years past. And that is the 10K. That will take us to the half marathon. For this, you have the event open at 2:30 in the morning. More people. Got to get, takes a little bit more time to get people through. Estimated final finisher at 9:45 and event close at 10 a.m. So not a lot of time between those two. Just make note of that. Corrals for this are going to open up at 3:15 in the morning. A will close at 4:45 and so on. Everybody off by 6:06 a.m. Spectator viewing, some more official spots for this. You obviously have the start line out by the Grand Floridian at mile 4.5. We'll go over that when we go over the map. Magic Kingdom Park on Main Street will be open even if you don't have a park ticket. You can go through there at between 5:20 and 7:30 a.m. So that is a spot. The Contemporary, outside of the Contemporary, at about mile 6.7. Ticket and Transportation Center at 7.5, and then the finish line area back at Epcot. Just a note, if you're planning on going to the Magic Kingdom or Transportation Ticket Center for that matter, your best bet is to take the monorail from Epcot early in the morning to get there. Traffic could be due to the road closures and the roads we run on. It's very difficult to get to those spots race morning, so your best bet is to park at Epcot, take the monorail over there, and then see runners that way. Transportation, slightly different for this. Bus transportation, that is, will start at 2:30 in the morning and run to 4:30 for the start. Finish line transportation, 6:30 to 10:30. There will be a monorail for Magic Kingdom Resort guests to the races at 2:30, and Epcot monorail will run to Magic Kingdom beginning at 4:30. So like I said, if you're planning on going to spectate in the Magic Kingdom, that monorail will start running at 4:30. Race etiquette, event reminders, race results, snack box, all the same. More road closures due to the longer race and the roads that we run on. So if you are driving, make sure to make a note of these spots that when those roads close. And then we have the map. So let's dive in here. So we will start again. Every race starts in that Epcot parking lot spot. That never changes. We're going to go out onto the roadway, and we're off. Just going to the Epcot toll plaza will be on the left of us. Some years past, we have run through that. This year, they're having us run outside of that. I believe they want to keep this open for park traffic instead of us having to run through that. But we're going to make a loop on the overpass and continue on our way up towards the Magic Kingdom. You'll have obviously some water stops up in here, one right before mile 2. And like I mentioned, there's going to be, they don't pinpoint where those are on the course map, but there will be spots with porta potties in this area as well as you are running. We're going to continue running past the Magic Kingdom toll plaza booth, which is going to be over here. And there'll be another water stop before mile 3. And again, there'll be characters all along this portion as well. There's always a bunch as we get towards Magic Kingdom. And then we'll go into the parking lot area. Or I take that back. We're going to continue. It used to be that way. We're going to continue along towards the Polynesian. Polynesian will be right about mile 4 over here. We're going to go continue on towards the Grand Floridian, which is over here. You'll have spectating spots. They don't note the Polynesian as a spectating spot, but people can kind of come out here and spectate. That is an option. And then again, around the Grand Floridian, there'll be people along the edges of the parking lots and stuff like that. And then as we come into the Grand Floridian, we kind of run in through a back parking lot, like Cass parking lot, and along the Grand Floridian path. You can spectate along there as well. That's kind of why they say 4.5 for that. So all kind of in here is where spectating spots are. Water stop just as we're entering the pathway to the Magic Kingdom. Now, a cool thing, I'm not sure if they're going to do it again, but the thing they did do last year is they had the electrical water pageant out over here as we are running on this path. Very cool moment there. Mile 5, just as before we get to the Magic Kingdom. We're going to enter through the Magic Kingdom gates underneath the train station and onto Main Street. Historically, the Christmas tree is still up for these races. So it's kind of a cool moment as you run on, and there's a ton of crowds as you're running up Main Street. And then into the hub area, and we're going to take a left into Adventureland. So we can kind of use a zoom in here a bit more. And as we head into Adventureland, you're going to have bathrooms kind of in the middle here of Adventureland on your right-hand side. And we're going to continue on through Adventureland, past Pirates, past the Tiki Room, past the Jungle Cruise, stuff like that. Back around into Frontierland. Tiana's will be on your left there as we make that turn. Back around, there'll be another spot to kind of utilize those bathrooms on this side because it's kind of an open pathway there that goes between the two sides of that of those parts of the park. And we'll go into Liberty Square, past the Haunted Mansion, and into Fantasyland. And just to note, they don't obviously tell you ahead of time where these spots are going to be, but there's always characters in various parts of this part of the course as well. The tangled toilets will be on the left side as you come into Fantasyland just before mile 6. And then we're going to run through the castle, and then as we come out that left side of, as we're coming through, of the right side if you're looking at the castle. And there's always a bunch of photographers in the front here to take a castle shot. You'll as you come out, you'll come to the left here to get in there. If you're going to continue running, you come to continue on the path here and into Tomorrowland. And then we're going to go just a quick bout into Tomorrowland, and we're out backstage again. And that takes us over here, and we're going to come backstage. We're going to hit a water stop. We're going to come out just before the bus stop area, and we're going to do kind of a hairpin turn backstage there, and then back onto past the Contemporary. The Contemporary will be over here. Again, a spectating spot along there of the Contemporary. Mile 7 still on roadways as we head towards the Transportation and Ticket Center. A water stop before that. There's usually a band or something in just right before the Transportation Ticket Center. TTC will have a bathroom in there as well. That's a stop. And then we continue into the parking lot. We kind of just do a bit of parking lot time as we head back onto that same road we entered the Magic Kingdom area on. Continuing on, and we do an overpass and back in towards Epcot. And as we get to the Epcot portion, you're going to enter backstage behind the Seas Pavilion as you come in. And then you're going to enter World Celebration, go through the center of that. And you're not really going to hit any bathrooms on this side, unfortunately, if you need one. You probably could go to this one over here, a little bit off course, but there is that one. As you come through the center of World Celebration, there will be a bathroom on your right side over here. That same one from the 5 and 10K courses. And then we're going to exit backstage, going the opposite way that we came in for the 5 and 10K, going between Test Track and Mission Space, back around and to the finish then for that. So nothing too crazy there. This course is pretty similar to last year or in previous years. In my 12 years running Marathon Weekend, the half has probably been the most unchanged course. The only difference was a couple years ago when they kind of flipped it, where we come in the Grand Floridian way and come out the Contemporary way. It used to be that you went in the Contemporary way and then out the Grand Floridian way. That's the only change. Otherwise, essentially the same. So there's that. So nothing too crazy, very standard. The whole, highlight of this course is running through the castle. Other than that, it's a lot of roadway. It's a very good portion. I mean, from 1 to basically 4.5, 5 is all roads. You go in, basically do a mile, and then back out from 7 to 12 is more roads. It's just kind of how that all sets up there, just because you have to get from Epcot to Magic Kingdom and back, and they only have so much to work with there. Anyways, that is the half marathon, so that's going to take us into our final race of the weekend, the full marathon. Full marathon starts a little bit earlier than the other races. Again, event open at 2:30. However, the race start for this one is 4:30. Estimated final finisher will be at 12:30 and event close at 1. Start groups. Start groups will open at 2:45, and everybody will be off by 5:28 a.m. So a very early morning for us marathoners. Spectating, you obviously have a lot more spots because we go to a lot more places. We'll go more into spectating here in a minute, but obviously start, finish, Grand Floridian, Main Street, Contemporary, TTC, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Boardwalk, Epcot, and the finish. For marathon morning, some different transportation stuff than some the other races. Uh, Bus transportation will start at 2 a.m. given the earlier start, and then finish line transportation 6 to 1 p.m. Bus to Epcot will run 4 Magic Kingdom resorts from 2 to 2:30. Then the monorail will take over and run from 2:30 on, and then monorail to Epcot will start running at 4 a.m. Again, all of this the same. Road closures, obviously a lot more road closures because we run on a lot more roadways. So if you are driving or if you're spectating, stuff like that, be sure to make note of these road closures because it does create a havoc on Marathon Day because there's so many roads that are being used for this that there's a lot of portions of Walt Disney World that are going to be closed or modified or stuff like that. That's going to create a hindrance to getting around. Start staging all the same again, and then our course. So as we look here to start is the same as kind of that 10K portion where we're going to kind of come out and then make a loop back around on the road into Epcot. Instead of coming in by Test Track and Mission Space, we're going to come into World Showcase between Mexico and Norway. So you'll come in there, as you can see, a little bit of a close-up here. We're going to come in there just before mile 2. We're going to do a lap around World Showcase, and all those real bathrooms that from before are still going to be available. You have Norway, Germany, America, Morocco, and then UK, and we're going to come back through the front of Epcot. You'll have the bathroom along that path there. You're going to go past the land and the seas, and there'll be a real bathroom over here as well in that World Celebration area, kind of behind the Communicore building. Back out the front of Epcot, and we're going to go through this bus stop area. Now this is a spectating spot as well. Lots of people for that if you park at Epcot, or if you're say you're going to take the monorail to go spectate in the Magic Kingdom or something, you can hit here first and check out or see us just after mile 3 because this kind of bus stop area will be open. So that's not something that they tell you. And then the parking lot area here, because we kind of run through the parking lot, there'll be options there to spectate as well. We're going to come out on the road and then do a loop on overpass and head our way towards Magic Kingdom. Again, going left of that toll plaza for Magic Kingdom. Coming in that same way we did for the half, we're going to come up and past the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian. Again, spectating up in here as well. We're going to go past Grand Floridian onto the path towards the Magic Kingdom and into Magic Kingdom via the front gates underneath the train station, up Main Street, into the hub, and take a left into Adventureland once again. Go through Adventureland. Again, you'll have those Adventureland bathrooms up in there, past Pirates, past Tiana's, through Frontierland, into Liberty Square, past the Tangled Toilets over there. We're going to go through Fantasyland, through the castle once again. Instead of kind of going in and out of Tomorrowland, we're going to take a sharper left. Again, photo pass in front of the castle. Make sure to take advantage of those. We're going to take a sharper left go back into Fantasyland through kind of the new portion of Fantasyland, past the Be Our Guest restaurant, past Ariel's and around Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, through the Storybook Circus area, past through there and kind of behind Barnstormer, take that path underneath Tron and back into Tomorrowland. There's going to be bathrooms back by Storybook Circus. There will be bathrooms in Tomorrowland as well, and kind of by Space Mountain over there as you come through, and then we're going to exit that same way we did for the half and come back out towards the Contemporary, again doing that same kind of hairpin turn before we go to the Contemporary, spectating spot at the Contemporary. Continuing on to the Transportation and Ticket Center, that will be a real bathroom there. And then we're going to do some looping around the Magic Kingdom parking lot, because who doesn't want to do that? So mile 12 in the parking lot, and then we kind of loop around, out and back, up and out and back again. Mile 13 still in the parking lot before we finally leave the parking lot and kind of make a loop out by the rental car area here. That's where that is. And back onto Bear Island Road. Now this, I will say, was a good spot for the marathon last year because it was kind of like, they called it, like, people called it the Star Wars mile. There was 3 or 4 consecutive character stops on this road that were all Star Wars characters. So we'll see if they do that again or if they do something different, but that was kind of fun last year, kind of in between this portion of 14, 15. Then we're going to continue on, keeping on towards the water treatment plant before we head to Animal Kingdom. We're going to go backstage through Animal Kingdom, past kind of the behind the safari essentially, and enter into Africa, and then through Asia. As we enter, there's going to be a real bathroom up in here, and then we're going to go continue on towards Asia and Everest. There's going to be a real bathroom over here as well. As we get to Everest, make a note if you are there after park open, which I'm not sure what park open is right now. It's usually 8 a.m., which should be 7:30 with early hours. Everest should be running by the time you get to Animal Kingdom, given the time, given that it's after mile 17. But you also need to make sure that you have enough buffer behind you so you don't get swept to ride Everest. So keep that in mind. Then this is kind of the one change this year, outside of a little bit of additional parking lot time at the Magic Kingdom. The one change is, instead of, because Dino Land is closed due to becoming Tropical Americas, we're going to continue on through behind the Dino Land Theater, instead of continuing on, or I should say the Finding Nemo Theater, instead of continuing on through Dino Land, and then back behind Everest and out. Usually there is, see if it, yeah, notes it on here. It doesn't note on the close-up, but this food stop is usually a banana here. So that's usually what that is there. And we're going to continue back on out of Animal Kingdom. And it's almost a full mile from behind Everest before we finally start leaving that Animal Kingdom area. And then we're going to continue on towards everybody's next favorite thing, the Blizzard Beach parking lot. Coronado Springs, again, they don't note this as a spectating spot, but if you're staying there especially, a lot of people come out and are out lined up along the roadway here to spectate. And then we enter into, kind of do an out and back, just by Blizzard Beach, and then into the parking lot, and then around the parking lot, a full loop, because why not? And then back around out of the Blizzard Beach parking lot, and we continue on to Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios, we are in for like 30 seconds because apparently we can't get more time there. But it doesn't really give you a close-up of that because we are there for literally 30 seconds. We're going to come in behind by Fantasmic, by Tower of Terror. Again, if you time it right, you may be able to ride Tower of Terror. Some years it gets kind of dicey, as they sometimes they don't let you ride if you're a runner. Sometimes they do. That one's always up in the air for some reason. Or Rock and Roller Coaster, both of those for that matter, because that's what we run by. You're going to have a real bathroom by Tower of Terror, and then you'll have a real bathroom, or in a real bathroom by Fantasmic as well. That one's kind of backstage, so it's really only the runners that will be using that one at this point, because the park should probably be open by the time you're running through here, unless you are running a 2-hour and 30-minute marathon. And then you're going to quick exit backstage, just past the Beauty and the Beast Theater, and out the front, and you're going to go out past the Skyliner station, and by the Skyliner station there is another real bathroom as before we enter the path, better known as International Squeezeway. which there will be a water stop on just before you reach the boardwalk. And then as we come around the boardwalk, there's always a bunch of spectators along this path here by the boardwalk. And then as you come onto the boardwalk, there's a bunch of spectators around there. Mile 25 is just the beach club will be just on the left of that as you make a turn back into Epcot. And it will be a water stop backstage by World Showplace. This will be your final water stop of the race, just to make a note of that. And you're going to come and make a quick stop into World Showcase between the UK and Canada. Now, one of the big things that people like to do is finish with a celebratory beverage in hand. Obviously, if you stop in the UK or Canada, those are places you could do that because that's what we're closest to. Prior years, it was always a margarita because we passed Mexico as we made our way around World Showcase. Last year, they changed that and took out World Showcase from the end of the course and instead made it the beginning of the course for rather reasons supposedly unknown, but I have my thoughts and feelings. Anyways, we're going to go into World Celebration between Connections and Creations. There's going to be a food cart over here. Again, if you want to get a beer, there's usually beer there or some snacks. People like to finish with like pretzels and stuff like that too. And then that's going to be, there's also the real bathrooms over there. And that's going to be kind of it because we're going to leave between Test Track and Mission Space, go back out around and to the finish, and that is it. So the kind of end Epcot portion is pretty quick. It's less than a mile basically from that mile 25 to before we leave the park again. But that's the marathon. That is all that she wrote for that. Again, all of the same stuff if we go back to the weekend events. So back to the weekend events, as you can see here, State Farm is the featured featured sponsor, and then Blood Center United featured charity, and then a tab for upcoming runDisney events. Nothing really with those to do there. And then we have all of the sponsors throughout. Some of these will offer some weekend discounts. Like you can enter to win a free treadmill from Echelon, or 25% off from Mission, or Shocks and a thing, Disney Vacation Club. All these different tabs. They either just kind of know what the sponsors are, and may offer a small discount if you jump into those. But yeah, that is kind of it. And the Digital Expo is that same portion I was just showing. Nothing too crazy there. But that is the Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend event guide for 2026. Hope to see you there. We are just a mere 3 weeks away at this point, and yeah, it's going to be here before you know it, and a lot of fun yet to be had. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.